they're looking like a Super Bowl contender. Dallas is favored by 7. But divisional games, obviously, always a dogfight. Stephen A., do you trust the Cowboys?
Absolutely not. Look. I mean, do we not see what's happening here? Do we not see what's happening? Okay, y'all. Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, we see what they bring to the table. Right now, if I had a vote and it was Defensive Player of the Year, it would be Diggs for the Cowboys. The guy has been special the first 4 weeks of the season. Major props to him. All the props in the world. Stephon Diggs should be very, very proud of his little brother. I got it. I understand, okay? When they were on soft knocks, not hard knocks, soft knocks. We learned a lot about Diggs and the family, and I wish him nothing but the best, at least off the field. On the field, I'll never root for the Cowboys because I can't stand their fans, Tim. I just can't take them. Having said all of that, here's the deal. You got Dak Prescott and that offensive firepower on every level, from the offensive line to Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard to CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup hasn't even been in the lineup for a while, but this kid Wilson could play as well. Schultz has done good things for them at the tight end spot. Got a couple of touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. I get all of that. I'm still not sold on this defense. And every time everybody talks about them, I'm thinking about the level of competition that you go up against. When you go up against Carolina last week, but there is no Christian McCaffrey. Okay, you got that. I'm looking at your cupcake schedule. I'm saying,
level
okay,
of
we'll
competition. Stephen A., what? The level of competition?
No,
they played the Bucks. They played the Chargers.
No, I'm talking about moving forward. I'm not talking about what they played. I'm not talking about the first couple of weeks of the season. I know they had the Bucks and the Chargers. I wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about moving forward because I expect them to be somewhere around the line of 8-2 or 9-1, 10 games into the season. But I'm saying when you look at the NFC, think about what we said. We got Aaron Rodgers. He's a bad man. We've got Tom Brady. He'll be waiting. We got Matthew Stafford. All right. We've got Kyler Murray. Okay. We got that going on. I'm saying I got 4 or 5 teams that I could see knocking off the Cowboys. So, no, I'm not sold on them. Not when we're talking about Mike McCarthy's play calling.
Are they going to win against the Giants?
Not when we talk about their defense. Excuse me?
Are they going to win against the Giants? Is it a trap game?
Unfortunately, yeah. Your Giants are going to lose. Well, go ahead.
But Stephen A., the question was, do you trust them? And every point you gave, every point you gave was a reason to trust them. Defensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons, all the running backs, the tight ends, the quarterback, Dak Prescott.
I can say secondary.
You talked about one member of their secondary. So, but everything you said would lead someone to believe that you would trust them with everything that you said until it's like, no, I don't trust them. So is the reason you don't trust them because you don't want to trust them because you dislike them? Is that what's getting in the way?
Who are you, dear Abby? Why are you trying to psychoanalyze me, man?
I'm just asking,
I don't trust them.
What's the real reason why you don't trust them? Is it with your eyes or is it with your heart? Because those are different.
Well, a combination of both. With my eye, I get you. With my heart, I can't deny that.
Your heart can get you in trouble,
but
I
truly do not trust their defense. I really, really don't right now. And I think their defense is vulnerable, and I think their defense could be had against better competition. Right now, I'm looking at the 27 yards allowed. They're your second worst pass defense in the National Football League, and I'm looking at elite quarterbacks that are coming down the pipe.
But what about your boy Justin Herbert? Right? The A block. We went off about Justin Herbert, right? Mm-hmm. How did the Cowboys defense do against him? Pretty good.
Yeah, they did turn the ball over, though, man. They turned the ball over. You got Keenan Allen falling in the end zone. Tim Tebow has a touchdown, and the man fell in the end zone. You got them, and they fumbled another one in the end zone when they were running into the damn end zone and just fumbled. I mean, come on. Are we just going to forget all of that?
Tim, you're picking the Cowboys this weekend, too?
I'm taking the Cowboys this weekend just because I think their offense is elite. I think Dak Prescott is managing at the line of scrimmage as well as anybody right now, and he's just dialing it up. I also think their defense is improving. I don't necessarily believe in their defense or trust them, but I think they're getting better, and I think this offense is elite. So many playmakers, every position.
They're getting better. They couldn't get much worse than last year when they grabbed Mike Nolan off the scrap heap after 6 years out of the business as a coordinator and made him a defensive coordinator.
Statute of limitations and beating up on the Cowboys.
This is a lot of heart talking, man. This is a lot of heart talking.
Yeah.
Wow.
Michael Irvin will be here Monday. Don't forget.
Lord.
Okay. When we come back here on First Take, Tim Tebow will give some advice to his former coach after. Are you worried about Georgia?
Absolutely. I mean, if you watch them play, if you look at that defense, if you look at all the playmakers, how physical they are on special teams, I think if there's a question mark for Georgia, it's how will their offense handle big games? How will they handle press coverage? Do they have enough playmakers on the outside? Other than that, you have a Georgia team that is so elite. Their front seven is one of the best probably in the last 8 to 10 years. I mean, this is a defense that has a chance to be up there with some of the great Alabama defenses in the past. And if there was a weakness, which I don't think there is, it would possibly be in their secondary. But I mean, this defense is ridiculous. I mean, multiple shutouts against really good teams. They're scoring more points as a defense than opposing offenses are scoring against them. I think if you're Alabama, you absolutely have to look at them and say, you know what, we have to go out, we have to play our best game to be able to beat this Georgia team. That's how good Georgia is right now.
Mere bag of shells, mere bag of shells. Ain't no reason to be worried if you're Alabama. You understand? I tried to tell you this, that you had one good weekend. You had one good weekend. Your Florida Gators showed up, was highly competitive, almost won the daggone game. I was shocked. I gave them props. But then you took it too far, Tim Tebow. You took it too far. I do remember you talking to me about how Ole Miss was going to give Alabama a run for their money. And what happened? Do you want to say it with me? Roll Tide. Did you see that? Held scoreless in the first half, 35 unanswered points by the Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, please. I mean, listen. You got a situation right now where we talk about Alabama, man. You talk about Bryce Young and the crew. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about Georgia. Georgia's defense is legit. I get that. They are elite. Their offense, that is an entirely different matter altogether, Tim Tebow. I'm not concerned about the Bulldogs. And by the way, there's too many damn schools in college that got the nickname Bulldogs, okay? There's too many of them, all right? Georgia, I understand, is elite in that regard, but against everyone but the Tide. They are number 2 for a reason. You got to play both sides of the ball. They got an elite defense, no doubt about it. Tim Tebow's absolutely right about that. Their offense is an entirely different matter altogether, scoring 10 points against Clemson. Please, ain't worried about no Georgia. They're going to get rolled, too.
All right, first of all, Stephen A., you know one of the differences between me and you?
Yes, sir.
I can admit when I was wrong, and I was wrong. I thought Ole Miss was going to be more competitive. I thought they were going to score more. So you know what? I was wrong. I can say that open and honestly. But I'm not wrong about Georgia being an absolute, possibly a nightmare against Alabama. The way they play, the style that they play, it is such a style that is not good for Alabama to press the receivers, to not get them off the line, to be able to take away all the bubble passes. I'm not saying that they're better than Alabama, but I'm saying when they play, if they play in the SEC championship game or in the college football playoff, it is going to be an absolute battle, just like we saw 4 or 5 years ago in the national championship. That's how good this Georgia defense is, and if their offense continues to get better, yes, it will be an absolute war.
It'll be, listen, they'll keep it competitive because their defense is big time. I get all of that. But when you can't score, you ain't got no shot against Alabama. And I'm not sold on Georgia. I'm just not, because offensively, I think they're challenged. Defensively, everybody talks about their defense. But again, and not only am I bringing that up, it's Kirby Smart coaching them, who's an exceptional coach, and I get all of that. Except for when he goes up against Nick Saban. As every former assistant that goes up against Nick Saban ends up feeling the wrath. The man is 24-0 against his former assistants. None of them have ever beaten them. Okay, I understand people want to believe that Kirby Smart will be that first dude. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
But Stephen A., the one thing we have to take into account is that offense doesn't have to be ready next week. They won't play Alabama until the end of the year in the SEC championship game or in the college football playoff. So that what that offense has to do is continue to develop, to find more and more playmakers, because you got to remember, they lost their 2 top playmakers, their best receiver, their best tight end in preseason. They don't have them. So that offense is also trying to figure out who they are and developing guys. But they do have a lot of young talent that by the end of the year, maybe it's a different offense than we see right now. Yeah. That's why throughout a season, you can be such a different team. Yeah, trust the process.
You don't develop against Alabama. You're either ready or you're not. And they ain't ready.
Stephen A., do you prefer Huskies to Bulldogs? NFCs, let's go. My New York Football Giants getting it together, keeping hope alive. We've been seeing solid play from Daniel Jones and Saquon